Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and today we're taking a look at the studio version of Kup. Now I know a few of you who have been around the channel for a while will probably be going, "Hey Sparkster, you've already covered this toy." Well, yes I have, and no I haven't. I covered the original Studio Series release. This is a new release done under the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. So they are similar, but they are different as well. And we're going to take a look at those differences today on the channel. First though, I want to give a special shout out to my good pals Natasha and Neptune. Couple of fine young ladies. They sent this version of Kup to me for my birthday back in May, so thank you very much, ladies, for this contribution to the channel. Now, we're going to take a look at some of the different things. The first thing I want to compare the two with is their boxes. You see, here's the original box that Kup originally came in. And as soon as I get the lid closed on the other one, here is the Buzzworthy Bumblebee box. As you can see, it's more dedicated to Hasbro's new ideal of using less packaging, since the box is slightly shorter than the original. So it's nice to see them still working on that commitment. And of course, by it also having more cardboard, there's also less of a plastic window on this version. So there is some proof here that Hasbro is going through with that process. Now we'll set these guys aside, set the boxes aside, and of course we'll bring out them with their displays. Here's the original studio version of Kup, and it featured one of the heavy scenes that featured him in it. The battle with the octopus on the planet Quintessa. The new version of Kup includes a scene featuring Autobot City. So it's done to take place relatively early in the film. And again, as you can see, due to the smaller size of the packaging, the scene for the new Kup is slightly shorter, at least going from top to bottom. From side to side, they're about the same size. That way it still allows for the placement of other figures if you want to try to set up a scene with all of them together. But all in all, it's still a nice looking setup. But of course, the big thing we got to do is compare the robots. That's the primary reason you'd be buying them. But of course, get them out of the way so you can see their backdrops in full. Like I said, I kind of prefer the new one more so than the original one. Although I have seen that you can remove Kup's arm from relatively easily, since they do detach at the bicep cut. And I think maybe a leg can come off at the thigh cut if you work at it real well. So you could probably set it up where he's been damaged by the octopus. But again, that's personal preference. How you folks display them in your home is totally up to you. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to display all of mine. So I know there's a fair amount of you out there that would love to see my collection. Man, I'd love to show it to you, but I don't have a way to really get them all in one place. Okay, formally standing before you is the original release of Kup. Then right here is the newer version. We'll adjust the head here so they're both looking right at you in the camera. Say hi to the people, Kup. Now, there are some slight color differences between the two, as the original one does have more of a bluish tint on the various spots on the limbs, where it's kind of more of a medium gray here on the newer release. So it's a little more accurate to the on-screen appearance. And probably the biggest change also comes with the chest plate. The original one was done in a trans blue color. That kind of allowed you to see inside, and while that wasn't necessarily bad, it really wasn't accurate to how he was portrayed. In the film here, the chest plate was always in this solid gray color. Of course, with it being in the solid gray, they've added some scuffs to the windshield to sort of give him a battle-damaged look, and with Kup being a grizzled veteran for the Transformers, that works out pretty good for him. So what can I say? I do like it. I do like the change. Now, of course, let's take a look at his accessories, and we will start with his gun. As the lore often indicated, Kup's rifle was an old-style musket laser. Muskets were, of course, the weapons used way back when, in the 1700s era. So that's to help imply as well that Kup's gun is of a relatively older model. Now, is it the same as the original ones? Its design is the same, but the original one is again done up in this bluish green color, so it kind of resembles more the original toy, which I just dropped it on the floor. The original one here, it's done up more to resemble the gun from the Generation 1 toy, because it was in this sort of color. So the darker color works better for the darker colored Kup. And then, of course, the other accessory he includes is his box full of Energon goodies that he and Hot Rod tried to famously feed the Alley-Cons. Again, the original one also included this. The main difference being that the original one, the Energon piece, was done in trans clear colors, whereas this one is done in, again, the dark gray and a medium gray color. Which again still does not make it accurate to the cartoon. It should be a glowing white color. But I guess I can overlook that. I mean, it's minor, and let's face it, many of us collectors know full well about how cheap Hasbro gets on the paint applications. So we can overlook that. But getting back to Kup now, let's take a look at his articulation, and it will be the exact same articulation as was done on the original release of this toy. Meaning that the head can turn from side to side, and it does look up and down a bit. His arms can be raised up about so far when you don't move the shoulder panel, and the arms do rotate at the shoulder all the way around. He does have a joint at the elbow, so you can bend his arm at the elbow greater than 90 degrees. And he also has a swivel at the bicep, so he has G.I. Joe style battle grip. And as you can see, the arm does come off relatively easily there. Kup can be turned at his hip, so he does have some dance moves going for him. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a thigh cut, so you can turn his legs at the thigh. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend him at the knee 90 degrees. So you get quite a range of motion and posing options for Kup. Okay, we're going to transform Kup now. If we can keep this arm from coming off. Alright. He does the transformation exactly like the previous version did. We'll still go through it anyways. He'll turn his head around like so. We'll bring the arms up from the shoulders plates like this. I'm going to turn him around for a moment because we're going to fold down his backpack and get everything on it folded out like so. Then we come back here to his arms. We're going to raise them up a bit because it'll be easier to use that to get some torque to rotate this special piece out. And then we will rotate the arms so that they get pointing straight back behind him. So we need this kind of for the extra torque. Alright, once you've done that, we reach in here into his back and we're going to fold out these front wheels, connect them to the sides. Then we start bending the toy at the hip and shifting the hip inward. Then we bring back the back piece and it should connect right over his head to start forming the truck cab. Then we're going to pull the arm free again. Rotate around the shoulder pieces, make some slight adjustments to how much we have them out so that they connect like that. We got them out a little far, but there we go. So it should have his arms kind of like this behind him. Gonna give him a slight bend because we're gonna bend him backwards a bit. Come down here to his legs and we're going to fold the feet in like so. You'll come up here to his knee pads. You're going to pop them out. And you can see here the way his legs are done up. You're going to pop them free from that one panel and slide them over. Then you can put the knee pad back up. It should snap just like that to help lock it in place. And then we kind of come up front here. Once again, shift things so that the arms are kept in between his legs. Straighten the legs out, and we're going to take this top cover on the back of the leg. You'll fold it forward. And it should snap into place right along to complete the front fender. It should also have a section that'll connect here right near the back of the truck. There we go. And then we will fold down these pieces to form the bed of the truck. You snap them together, and they got a couple of posts underneath. And that's where you would plug his hands in. And then there you have it, folks. Kup is in his alternate mode of a Cybertronian pickup truck. Despite the fact that a lot of people have grumped over the years that he has no tailgate, so he's kind of useless as a pickup truck. Maybe on Cybertron the truck bed's magnetized and they only carry things made out of metal. And of course he's got spots for the accessories alongside the legs. And on this side here we would attach the Energon Goody canister. And then on the other side we can attach his gun. Now, of course, how does it look compared to the original? Well, here's the original side by side. And definitely, like I said, this newer version is more accurate to how Kup appeared in the animated film. So now we get to my thoughts. Well, my first impressions when I saw this was, again, another cheap redo out of Hasbro. But the more I looked at it, the more I started to realize it is more accurate than the original proclaimed Studio Series version was. So it was a nice idea for Hasbro to go back and redo Kup in this case, because this one more resembles his cartoon appearance rather than trying to look more like the original toy. The studio figures are supposed to be made to look like how they appeared on screen. So it is nice to see that the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line, while it is a rather exclusive line to Target stores, it is a nice addition to have. The problem being is that most of the die-hard fans have probably already picked up the original version of Kup. So it's going to be your choice as to whether you ditch the original and buy the new one, or just keep the original and make do. It's kind of hard to say, folks, because I do see the dilemma, that and the fact that I still see this Kup on the store shelves as well. At any rate, that's my look at the Buzzworthy Bumblebee version of Studio Series Kup. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you like the content that we feature here on this channel, please do remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We do appreciate the feedback here. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.